DuoTale English.
where every story teaches you English.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DuoTale English. I am Marcus, and before anything else, I need to tell you something very exciting.
And I am Lena. And yes, Marcus has been almost bouncing in his chair since he walked in today.
I have not been bouncing.
You were literally bouncing. I saw it. What is happening?
Okay, so this is episode 10. Episode 10 of DuoTale English, which means we have done 10 episodes together. And I am proud of that. I am genuinely proud. And I am proud of every single person listening right now who has been here from the beginning or who just found us today. All of you.
10 episodes? When we started this, I hoped people would listen. I did not dare hope for this much. For all of you. So thank you, really, from both of us. Thank you.
And to celebrate episode 10, we are doing something a little different today, because today is not just a conversation, today is an active episode. Lena, tell them.
Today we are going to talk about something that almost every English learner struggles with, and almost nobody talks about directly. You understand English in your head, you know the vocabulary, you know the grammar, but when it is time to speak, your mouth does not cooperate.
The words are there, the knowledge is there, but the mouth, the actual physical mouth, is simply not trained to produce English sounds quickly and naturally. And today, we are going to fix that.
With exercises, real ones, that you can do right now while listening to us. So have your mouth ready, everyone. This episode is going to be a little different and a little ridiculous in the best possible way.
Before we start, a warm welcome to anyone who is new. On DuoTale English, every week we have a real conversation, tell a real story, and break down vocabulary. This episode is especially for B1 learners. Please subscribe. It means so much. And shall we train some mouths?
Let us train some mouths.
So, Lena, let me explain the problem first, because I think when people say, I cannot speak English, they actually mean two different things, and most people confuse them.
What are the two things?
The first one is a knowledge problem. You do not know the words. You do not know the grammar. You need more study, more input, more exposure to the language. And for some learners, that is genuinely the issue, and they need to address it.
But
for a huge number of B1 learners, that is not the problem. The knowledge is there. They can read, they can understand podcasts like this one, they can write reasonably well. But speaking out loud in real time with a real person feels like a completely different skill, because it is a completely different skill.
Speaking is physical. It is not just a mental activity. It requires specific muscles in your lips, your tongue, your jaw, your throat to move in specific ways at a specific speed. And if those muscles have only ever been trained to make sounds in your native language, they are going to feel clumsy and slow when you ask them to make English sounds.
It's like asking someone who has only ever played piano to suddenly sit down at a violin. They understand music, they understand notes, but their fingers, the actual physical fingers, have been trained for piano keys, not violin strings. And that transition takes physical practice, not just mental knowledge.
And nobody tells English learners this. Nobody says your mouth needs to go to the gym, your lips need exercise, your tongue needs to learn new moves, your jaw needs to loosen up. We just say, study more vocabulary, and then people are confused when studying vocabulary doesn't make speaking easier.
So today, we are going to give your mouth a workout. 5 exercises. All of them take about 1 minute each, and if you do them every morning for 5 minutes, your spoken English will start to feel more natural, more fluid, less like translating and more like actually speaking.
And to make this more real, we have a story. Meet Leo.
Leo is 25 years old. He grew up in South Korea. He's been studying English seriously for 4 years. He watches English shows without subtitles. He reads English articles every day. His vocabulary is actually impressive, often better than people who have been studying for longer.
But Leo has what his English teacher calls a speaking gap, the gap between what he understands and what he can produce out loud.
And Leo describes it perfectly. He says, it's like I have a library in my head. Thousands of books, all organized, all available. But when I try to speak, the library door gets stuck, and I'm standing there pulling, and only one book comes out at a time, very slowly.
The library door gets stuck. That is such a perfect description. And I think every language learner who has ever been at this stage knows exactly that feeling.
Exactly. And Leo is brilliant at tests. He scores highly on reading and listening, but put him in a real conversation and he freezes. And the freezing makes him anxious, and the anxiety makes the freezing worse. It's a cycle.
So, what changes for Leo? Who helps him?
His English teacher, a woman called Miss Park, tells him something that completely reframes how he thinks about speaking. She says, Leo, you don't have a thinking problem, you have a muscle memory problem. And muscle memory is not fixed by thinking harder, it's fixed by doing more. Specifically, by training your mouth to produce English sounds automatically until your mouth doesn't need your brain to give permission for every word.
Until your mouth doesn't need your brain to give permission for every word. That completely reframes the whole thing, because most learners think the brain is the problem, but actually it's the mouth that needs the work.
And Miss Park gives Leo 5 exercises, simple ones. 5 minutes every morning, no excuses, just 5 minutes.
Exercise 1, the mouth warm-up. And Lena, can we actually do these with our listeners, like out loud, right now?
That's exactly what I was thinking, yes. Everyone, wherever you are, join us for this. It might feel a little silly, that's fine. Silly is productive here.
So the mouth warm-up is simple. You exaggerate the movements of your lips and jaw when you say the sounds. Over-open your mouth. Really feel the shape each sound makes. Don't mumble. Don't be quiet. Be big with your mouth.
Repeat after us, slowly and with big mouth movements. Ready? Ba, bay, bee, bo, boo. Now again, ma, may, me, mo, and moo. Big mouth. Feel the lips moving. Feel the jaw dropping.
How did that feel? Because I'll be honest, doing that in front of a mirror is excellent and also deeply humbling.
So humbling. Your face does things you didn't know it could do. But that's the point. You're waking up the muscles. You're reminding your lips and jaw that they have a job to do. Leo did this every morning before breakfast and said after 2 weeks, his mouth just felt looser, more willing.
More willing. I love that. A more willing mouth. Exercise 2, mirror practice. And this one sounds simple, but it's actually very powerful. You stand in front of a mirror and you talk to yourself in English for 60 seconds about anything.
Just talk out loud while looking at yourself.
And the mirror is not there so you can admire yourself, though that is also allowed.
I always admire myself in the mirror. It's a confidence practice.
Of course, the mirror is there so you can see your mouth moving. You can see whether you're really opening your mouth, whether your lips are forming the sounds properly, whether you look natural, relaxed, or tense and stiff.
Because most people speak with very little facial movement when they're nervous. They tighten up, the jaw locks, the lips barely move, and that makes the sounds flat and unclear. English needs a mobile face, an open jaw, active lips. If you watch native speakers talking, their faces are doing a lot. The mirror helps you see whether you're doing that or not.
Leo said this was his favorite exercise because he started to notice that he looked tense, very tense when he spoke English. And just seeing that, just becoming aware of it, helped him consciously relax, soften the jaw, let the sounds come out more freely.
And what do you talk about in the mirror? Anything. What you're going to do today, what you had for breakfast, how you feel. Just words, just sound, just movement. The content doesn't matter. The muscle activity does. Try this right now. Say this out loud. Today I'm listening to DuoTale English. I am practicing my speaking. My mouth is getting stronger every day. I am training my lips and my tongue, and speaking is getting easier.
Did you feel that? The way you can't think ahead because you're too busy listening and speaking at the same time? That's the point. It bypasses the internal editor completely. Your brain has no time to translate, no time to check grammar. It just produces. And that production, however imperfect, is exactly the muscle training your mouth needs.
Leo started shadowing this podcast. He would replay sections of episodes, short ones, 30 seconds, and shadow them on repeat. And he said after about 3 weeks of doing this daily, the sounds started coming out more easily, more automatically, like his mouth was starting to remember the patterns without needing to think.
Muscle memory forming. The library door starting to unstick.
Exercise 4, fluency loops. You take one sentence, just one, and you say it 10 times, getting faster each time, without stopping, without checking, just faster and faster and faster. Our sentence is, I would really appreciate your help with this if you have a moment. Repeat it with us, slow first. I would really appreciate your help with this if you have a moment. Again, faster. I would really appreciate your help with this if you have a moment. And faster again. I would really appreciate your help with this if you have a moment.
Okay, that last one, the fastest one, mine started to fall apart at appreciate. The P and the R together, my lips just went, no thank you.
That's exactly what's supposed to happen, because when it falls apart, you find your weak point, the specific sound or cluster where your mouth struggles, and then that's where you focus. That's your training target.
The falling apart is the information. Leo's weak point was the TH sound, which doesn't exist in Korean, and fluency loops helped him isolate exactly where the problems were and address them one by one.
Instead of feeling generally slow, he started to understand specifically what was slowing him down, and specific is fixable. General is not.
Exercise 5. Natural sound clusters. English is full of sounds that blend together in ways that beginners do not expect. Things that look like 3 separate words when you read them, but sound like one flowing unit when you speak them naturally.
Like want to, which sounds like wanna, or going to, which sounds like gonna, or could have, which sounds like coulda, or should have, which sounds like shoulda. Do you know what I mean? Which sounds like, do you know what I mean?
And if you have only ever read English, you try to say each word separately and perfectly, and you end up sounding like a robot reading from a dictionary. Very correct, very unnatural.
Native speakers blend, they connect, they flow, and learning those natural connections is one of the fastest ways to sound more fluent without adding a single new vocabulary word.
Let us practice some together. Repeat after us. Naturally, blend the sounds together. What do you want to do? Say it like, what do you want to do? I should have told you. Say it like, I should have told you. Could you help me with this? Say it like, could you help me with this? I am going to try. Say it like, I'm going to try. Let me know. Say it like, let me know.
Did you hear the difference? When you blend, it sounds natural. When you separate every word perfectly, it sounds careful and formal. Both are correct, but for daily conversation, blended sounds more like the way real people actually talk.
Leo said this was the exercise that made the biggest difference fastest, because once he started blending, people stopped asking him to repeat himself. His meaning got through more clearly, more naturally.
Less precise, more natural, more connected, more like the actual rhythm of English as it is spoken every day by real people.
So Leo does these 5 exercises every morning, 5 minutes, before breakfast, before his phone, just mouth training, every day.
And how long before he notices a difference?
About 3 weeks in, he has a conversation with a colleague from Australia at work, and the colleague says, "Your English is really natural." And Leo thinks, what? My English is natural? Because from the inside, it still feels effortful, still feels like work.
But from the outside, something has already shifted, even before Leo has noticed it himself.
Because the muscles are learning, quietly, below the level of conscious effort. The patterns are forming. The library door is starting to open more easily. And then, about 6 weeks in, Leo is on the phone with his friend. They're talking about plans for the weekend, and Leo finishes the call and sits there for a second and thinks, I did not translate once. Not once, the whole conversation. English just came.
English just came after 6 weeks of 5-minute morning sessions. Not because he studied more vocabulary, not because he took another grammar course, because he trained his mouth.
The mouth caught up with the mind, and when they work together, that is when real fluency begins.
Okay, Lena, let's be honest. Do you do mouth exercises?
Okay, no, not formally, not the way Miss Park described, but I will say I do talk to myself in English. A lot, more than I probably should admit.
In what situations?
While cooking, while walking, while getting ready in the morning, I narrate what I'm doing sometimes. Like, right now, I'm chopping the onion and it's making me cry, and I'm going to pretend I'm in a cooking show.
You narrate your cooking in English?
Sometimes it keeps the language active. It's like mirror practice, but in the kitchen, and the onions make it more emotional.
The emotional onion English practice. I love it. For me, I do a version of the fluency loop without realizing it. When I'm preparing to say something difficult, a speech, an important conversation, I say it out loud beforehand, to myself, multiple times, faster and faster, until it stops feeling scary and starts feeling familiar.
You rehearse out loud.
I rehearse out loud, yes, because hearing the words come out of your own voice, in your own voice, is very different from just reading them silently. Something changes when the sound actually exists in the air.
The words become real when you say them out loud. They stop living only in your head. And that, making the English real, physical, present in the air around you, that is really what all 5 of these exercises are about.
Okay, vocabulary time. And today's vocabulary is all about speaking, pronunciation, and language learning.
First, speak fluently. To speak fluently means to speak smoothly, naturally, and without long pauses, as if the language flows easily from you. For example, she doesn't speak fluently yet, but she communicates very clearly. Or, fluency is not about being perfect, it's about being smooth and natural.
Second, muscle memory. Muscle memory is the ability of your body to repeat a physical movement automatically without conscious thought, because you've done it so many times. For example, after months of practice, playing the guitar became muscle memory. Or, speaking fluently in English requires muscle memory. Your mouth needs to learn the movements automatically.
Third, pronunciation. Pronunciation is the way you say a word, the sounds you make, and the emphasis you use. For example, his grammar was perfect, but his pronunciation made it hard to understand him. Or, good pronunciation is not about having a perfect accent, it's about being clear and understandable.
Fourth, shadow. In language learning, to shadow means to listen to someone speaking and repeat what they say at almost the same time, following like a shadow. For example, I shadow English podcasts every morning to improve my fluency. Or, shadowing is one of the most effective techniques for training your mouth to produce natural English sounds.
Fifth, flow. In speaking, flow means the smooth, natural, connected movement of speech, without awkward pauses or breaks. For example, her English has such a nice flow, it sounds completely natural. Or, to improve your flow, practice speaking without stopping to think about every word.
Finally, articulate. To articulate means to speak clearly and precisely, to form each sound well so the listener can understand you. For example, please articulate more clearly. I can't hear what you were saying. Or, she is very articulate. Even in her second language, every word is clear and well-formed.
And the last one, out loud. This simply means using your voice, making sound, not just in your head. For example, stop reading silently, say it out loud. Or, thinking in English is good, saying it out loud is better. Your mouth needs to practice too.
7 brilliant phrases. And notice, every single one of them connects to today's theme, your mouth, your sound, your physical English. Because speaking isn't just thinking, it's doing. And doing requires practice, out loud, every day.
Okay, everyone, we're at the end of episode 10 of DuoTale English. And what an episode! We did exercises together, we trained our mouths, we talked about library doors and muscle memory and emotional onion practice.
The Emotional Onion English Practice. I love it. For the DuoTale English Hall of Fame, alongside the pasta videos.
A historic episode. Okay, your 5 exercises to do every morning. 5 minutes. That's all.
Exercise 1. Mouth warm-up. Ba, bay, bee, bo, boo. Big movements. Wake up the muscles.
Exercise 2, mirror practice. Talk to yourself for 60 seconds. See your mouth moving. Notice if you're tense. Relax.
Exercise 3, shadow speaking. Follow someone half a second behind. No thinking, just producing.
Exercise 4, fluency loops. 1 sentence, 10 times. Getting faster. Find where it falls apart. That's your work.
Exercise 5, natural sound clusters. Blend the sounds. Gonna, wanna, shoulda, coulda, lemme. Flow like a real speaker.
5 minutes every morning. And Leo proved 6 weeks is enough to feel a real difference. Not perfect, but real, genuine. Your mouth finally catching up with everything your mind already knows.
Our question of the day, which of the 5 exercises are you going to try first? Tell us in the comments, in English. And if you do the mouth warm-up right now before you close this video and tell us how it felt, we will personally reply to every single one of those comments.
We genuinely will. Please subscribe to DuoTale English, 10 episodes strong, and we are just getting started. Share this episode with someone who understands English but freezes when they try to speak. This one is for them.
Thank you for 10 episodes of listening, learning, and growing with us. It means more than we can say. Now, go train your mouth. The conversation is waiting, and your mouth is ready. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. See you for episode 11. Bye, Marcus. And remember, ba baby bo boo.
Ba baby bo boo, everyone. Bye, Lena.